Recording. All right, and thank you all for making the time to come out to the Grove Homeowners Association special board meeting. As you know, we have a lot of things to try to iron out before two current board members are leaving the association. So I'm going to go ahead and officially call the meeting to order. It is May 13th, and the time is now 6:05. And the roll call, I'm Kevin Watler, current president of the Grove Homeowners Association. We have Cindy Cole, our vice president, present in person. We have Cindy Wolf, our Madam Secretary, present. We also have Thomas Rosano, our secretary, in person present. Treasurer, sorry. And we also have apologies from Joseph Hudson Martin, who is our member at large. He was unable to make the meeting for this evening. So wanted to highlight, as you know, we've put out a call to everyone asking for folks to step up, volunteer, get involved, because we have a lot of shoes to fill with the two outgoing board members, and we need at least 2 board replacements, as well as folks to volunteer for a number of different very important roles that ultimately has actually been saving a lot of money to the association. If no one took on these roles, the monthly dues that we currently pay would be significantly more, probably more than double. And a lot of that has been absorbed by a couple of us on the board. And so with the large gap that is going to be occurring at the end of this month, we need to fill those roles, or things will be, again, going to be very expensive for everyone, which we do not want to see happen. From the call outs that we have had 2 different people in the association come forward and said, hey, I'm willing to step forward and become a board member. And we have a handful of volunteers. Now that does not mean, even though we have had 2 people step forward, that we're not interested in hearing from others who might be interested. Those who remain on the board will definitely need to have some conversations, and it won't happen today, but in the next meeting, we anticipate that the board will then appoint who they feel is fit. It does not need to go through an election process, because when board members vacate their positions, it doesn't need to go through a vote of the general membership, which is all of the owners. It's pretty much an appointment, a board decision to fulfill the remainder of the terms for those who are no longer on the board. So it makes it a little easier, where we don't have to go through the whole election process again, which we typically do in December of each year when we have our annual meeting. But either way, we do have at least 2 people that said that they're interested. One of them is working and unable to be with us this evening. However, one is also in this room. Frederick is one of those wonderful folks that have stepped up. So Frederick, I'll actually turn the floor over to you if you wanted to say a few words on you know, if anything you would like to share.
Hello everyone. Many of you don't know me, some of you may have seen me. I know I've seen you walk around quite a bit. Only been here a couple of years. I've worked with Kevin and Cindy quite a bit. I have a passion for this place. I like it. I liked it when I saw it maybe 15 years ago when I first came here. I believe that we can do a whole lot with the few of us that are willing to step up. I in no way endorsing myself for a huge leadership position that will ever be done before. I've seen his job. I don't like. I've been a leader across the state of Florida in many different capacities. That is a high heart that will be done, and no one else to do it. Then I see the alternative, and it's scary. It's frightening. And regardless of if I'm chosen by the board or no, I'm still here, still going to be on my property here, and I'll still be here to help you in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you, Frederick. The other person who stepped forward is Dina Campbell. She's been a resident here for a number of years. She did put a caveat for the current board members. She will not be the president, is what she said. But she would be willing to step forward and serve in any other role than president. She's more interested in maybe something in some administrative form of things. I'll make sure that you guys connect, and then when you guys host the next meeting, you could choose the two of them if no one else steps forward, or whatever you guys feel is best for the association moving forward. I will not take part in that at all, because moving forward, the current board does have to get used to making some decisions. And so I want to make sure that you guys are getting that practice, but I'm definitely here to share my advice, my tips, and my recommendations. Even though I will not physically be here, I will certainly be available to help guide. But when it comes to final decisions, it does have to lie with the board. That's how we'll deal with that. So I gave a brief overview of the many different things that between Cindy and I, that things that we would do pretty much to carry out the function. That will need to either continue, or a decision will need to be made whether it should just go away, or if it's something you guys would want to pay property management or another company to do. So I'm going to go through each item one by one. We can have a little discussion on what direction you guys want to go in, and we'll go from there. Some of these positions are also positions that those who reached out to say that they'll volunteer and give us a lending hand. I've already kind of penciled that in here, so we know, okay, well, this role, we know we have someone, and then Cindy and I will work through the necessary training that needs to take place in order to get them up to speed, so they could take on that and own those responsibilities. One of the things I know Cindy's also done on some of the more administrative things that is a time suck, takes a lot of time to do, is to create a guide, a little step-by-step guide. Should that person no longer be able to fill that, they'll also be able to follow some step-by-step instructions to get it done as well. So first, I want to talk about the website. So the website currently is hosted with a company called, and Tom, I don't know if I know you're more in the IT field, so you might have a little bit more grasp of some of the technical parts of a website, but a website does not run by itself. It needs to be updated. There's things in the background that needs to be maintained. And there's fees, websites aren't free. So we have, we used to host with, with SiteGround. SiteGround started to give me some issues, and so I migrated everything over to Skystra when our website broke. They've been pretty good for us, and so Skystra is $144 annually. So each year we have to pay them to host our domain. We also are paid, that is linked to my credit card currently. And then anytime it's paid annually, I send in the receipt and property management reimbursement. So it will need to come off of my credit card. Way back when we had previous board member who was I think treasurer at the time that stole from the association, the decision was made back then, we ain't dealing with no credit cards, debit cards for any board members, because we don't want the room for any monies to go away. So we don't have a Grove Homeowners Association credit card for the board, just to make sure we don't get involved with finances. That's all handled through property management. And so it will need to go on someone else's credit card, or the board will have to decide whether or not they want to revisit that decision and get a credit card, which is even more safer than a debit card, because what got us in trouble was a debit card rather than a credit card. But that's something you guys might want to kind of consider. We are paid up through November the 15th currently, so it's not an immediate decision. But the renewals have not gone up, it's probably not going to go up. But it comes to now, who's gonna maintain the website? That was it was built and maintained by me. I'm more than happy to train someone, but when it comes to updating documents or pages or whatever we need to, any content on the website, someone will need to kind of take that on. Or we can just keep the domain, do away with the website, and have the URL grovehomeowners.com redirect to the property management's page. If you guys do not want to have a website, I do not have any volunteers for this task, but if someone wants to take that on, or if you guys feel a redirect is better, we could make that happen. The property management does have a page for each of, I think Garrison Company has, I don't remember how many associations, but if you go to their web page, underneath one of their drop downs, our association is listed as one of them. We could have it direct straight to that page if that's what you want. What will go away is all of the information, the rules, and the easy access to our rules and regulations, our governing documents, the map of the association, the roofing schedule, the termite mitigation schedule, all of those other things is not something Garrison would have on their site. It will typically just go to the Grove Homeowners Association page, and if you are a resident, you could log in to make your payments, or you could download the governing documents. That's all that would be available if it redirects. If you want it to exist the way we have it right now, again, someone will have to take on the maintenance of that page. So I don't know what you guys are thinking about that. Okay. So again, it's paid through November, but something to consider. The next thing is the email address. Currently, we pay $216 a month, or $2,592 a year for 6 email addresses. That's $36 per user per month, which I feel you don't need all of that. Because currently, as it is, most board members have not been checking emails. It's really 2 of us that's been really checking emails. Well, 3 of those 6 have been used. Cindy, myself, as well as property management. Once in a while, you guys do it, but if we are trying to look at savings, this is an area where I feel we could cut that in half, potentially. I would say so. It is quite pricey, but what it also comes with is that cloud storage. So you know how we have all those fancy forms to be filled out and shared documents. That's what we're not paying necessarily exactly for an email address. We're paying for cloud storage for all of the registration documents, the PDFs, the photos, but all of the things that we save to our cloud to have remote access will be what we're paying for. So I would recommend maybe having 3 email addresses. It could be that the president, secretary, you know how we have the president, secretary, member at large, treasurer, all those email addresses. Maybe we look at how we do that and maybe just have HOA@grovehomeowners.com instead of having that as a distribution list. Have that as the primary and everyone share the password to log in. That would be one. We can still have the office one, which Lindsay is in control of property management. So she could see stuff that's coming on over as well too. And perhaps one other for another person. So that's, I know you're into IT and you and I could kind of maybe work together on really figuring out the best way to cut that in half, and then you'll have some financial savings there, as well as it's just not being used by all board members. It makes no sense to pay that much money for no reason. And Cindy, I know I'm trying my best, but just keep an eye if we have anything in the chat that comes in. So, okay, so I see Bart just put in there, Garrison Cynic system should allow for storing all those community documents that the current, that's on the current site. My community uses the same system and we post docs there, including meeting minutes. Yes, that is what it's limited to, Bart. That is true. When it comes to the other stuff that we have with the roofing schedule, termite mitigation, all that sort of stuff, if that is going to be kept up to date, their system don't do that. It won't allow for that. So it has cons and pros. So what I don't have on my list that I created is the Facebook group for to have a Facebook manager. So this would entail we don't allow any and anyone to join our Facebook group. We have, let's see, how many a day? We got a lot of spammers trying to join our Facebook group. We don't need no business. So we
Made it hidden.
yes.
People have to be invited now.
Yes, we did make a quite change on it. So typically the way it works, if you are an administrator on our Facebook group, you have to approve whoever is going to be able to have access to it. Before we had it kind of a public page, so people could search for it, which made it easier for people to find us. And we were just getting hit so many people just requesting to join, and we have to go through, because again, we don't know everyone that's living here, all tenants or all owners. Sometimes if a new owner purchases, so we would have to go and verify based on our occupant registration form to make sure that that person belonged. So we hit it, and so the only people that can now get that link is if we send it to them.
So somebody has to do that.
But someone would have to do that when someone moves out, that someone would have to kick them out of the Facebook group. If you have someone that moves in, they would have to screen them to add them to the Facebook group. If someone is getting disrespectful, we suspend them or boot them. Someone has to moderate. And we've had to do that with some current residents who just don't control themselves very well. So we would need someone to take that on and become a page manager, moderator, work with the folks that we have to ensure that we have the right amount of the right people coming in here and become there. So Santana, I see you put in the chats about you're happy to help out. Can you say in what role? We're on the topic of the Facebook management. Is that what you're referring to? And or if there's anyone in here. Go ahead.
Sorry, I know that there were quite a few things that we needed assistance with, but I wasn't able to locate a list per se. But I know some things like the welcoming committee, I can do the website, I can do the Facebook. I just need to know what all you need, because I can do more than one thing.
Got it. So what I will do, Santana, and you guys are taking some notes as well too. Santana, remind us of your unit number. Santana?
38.
Got it. We'll put you down for the Facebook group management if the board is okay to add her. Are you already on the group? I think you are. I think, yep. Pretty sure I've seen her on there, but we could add her as an administrator if you guys are okay with that. And then she'll have to work with whomever to and I'll get into those names on who's going to take on the registration so she knows who to approve, not to approve.
Yeah, I'm not currently in the group, but I'll join.
Okay. So we'll work offline on getting you those privileges, but you know, we should have more than one. I know you, Cindy, you're on the group, and you do have the permission to also approve as well too. All board members really should be able to, for the, I guess, the owner of it, I'll need to transfer ownership. That's currently, I'm the owner. So no one can kick me out, but I can kick everyone else out. I need to transfer ownership to someone. So I could transfer it to you, Cindy, and then you could regulate who's going to manage all of the other stuff, all of the page moderators and all that good stuff. Thank you, Santana. The WhatsApp group, okay,
My
so
pleasure.
we know we have the WhatsApp. Yep, you know, we have the WhatsApp, that, we also send a lot of community updates, on. And currently I am the owner of that. I would need to pass ownership on to someone, again, to screen who comes in, who goes out, someone being rude, kick them out, all the same things as Facebook, it's just for WhatsApp. Any of the board members want to take ownership of that, or familiar with how WhatsApp works? Who should I transfer ownership to? You wanna take that on? And you can have more than one owner on WhatsApp too, so it could be all board members as well too, so.
We set up meetings on meeting.
So meetings are typically supposed to be set up by the secretary of the association and property management, more or less. We have been not doing it exactly that way, but, how you guys want to organize that is something for you guys to, you know, decide on what you want to do. You have a volunteer, or if you guys want to do it, I will send, give the board members the credentials to our Zoom account. That the Zoom account currently is also linked to my credit card for annual payments when it's due, so that too will need to be.
How much is it?
I did not put that in my notes. I think it's $100 and something, but I don't remember. I don't remember. It's like $100 and something a year. It's not a significant expense. But I definitely think you guys might want to continue doing virtual meetings. We have definitely more participation that way than in person. But if you guys don't want to have virtual, totally up to you guys. You could take away the Zoom and do meetings in person. I like the hybrid format as well too, especially when we have annual meetings, you know. Tom, you're a tech guy, so you could iron out some things if you wanted to do hybrid meetings like this. But I don't know, you guys could decide, and we might want to at least have a decision on that for what the next meeting is going to be like, whether it's going to be virtual, hybrid, or in person.
Do you get more attendance by virtual?
We have a lot more, anytime we moved to virtual, we went to virtual in the middle of COVID. So when I joined the board, half a decade ago, we had maybe an average of not two, but one handful of live participants. Ever since we started doing them virtually, we have had on average, maybe up to about a dozen participants. When we have serious things going on, when you see the tone of my emails and my meeting notifications change, we have a lot more participants. Right now we have 16, and we have maybe a dozen in here or so. So participation in this meeting is much better than, you know, our general meetings.
Okay, so that may be a
I feel that
that may be consideration to continue as a hybrid because you get more participation, something to think about.
yeah, so the only time we've done hybrid meetings, though, it's kind of a hard judgment on it, because the only time we have hybrid meetings is our annual meeting really in December, or if we have something special going on like this meeting, this special meeting. So other than that, I know there are about a handful of mature older adults who live in our HOA who are not very good with technology and would prefer in person. And I recognize that, but it would be for the board to decide, you know, if they would want to, how they want to handle that. I'll leave that for them. I could only speak to how I dealt with it.
Okay, thank you. Just curious. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So for the biggest thing, one of the things that takes the most amount of time is keeping up with owner, occupant, registration, and something you all might not know is that, about once a quarter, USPS, our mail person asks for, a current residence list of all of those who actually live here and receive mail here, because again, we do have a lot of people in and out. And so what Cindy does typically when a mail person asks is to print off the latest resident list for her. So when she's delivering mail, she knows what to send back to the mail carrier or what to sometimes deliver. As you know, our mailboxes are so tiny. And so, you know, that's one of the things that needs to be carried out. But it does take a lot of time to update these documents every year, which is required by our documents, that they are maintained by the secretary of the association. We do have volunteers for this, thankfully. That Nicole Durbin and Tiffany Prado, both will take those responsibilities on. It means that they will be working on ensuring that we get these very important documents collected. And the reason some people wonder, why do we have to do this every year? Nothing's changed. We often get, well, the reason for why we have to do it every year is because while it might not change for you, someone it has changed for. And the only way to capture a lot of that is by harassing you every single year to make sure your car didn't change or your phone number didn't change or an email address didn't change, as well as it's a time for us. We know something did change because everyone is required to have homeowners insurance. And we know that you renewed sometime within 12 months because no one gets a policy longer than 12 months. So we need to get the latest insurance document from you. So that's why it's very important. We need to be able to contact owners and have their latest contact made. It helps with finding violations when we have up-to-date tag registrations. If we have a tag reader camera at our entrance, so we could identify if someone is improperly parked, or let's say someone hit that car, or we need that car to move because of a maintenance issue or something going on. We need to be able to say, oh, that's so-and-so's license plate number, let me call them. There's so many different reasons why we have to keep this updated. And for 120 owners and 200 plus residents, probably 300 plus residents, and that doesn't include children, we need to be able to get onto. So it's again a requirement that needs to be done, and so this is something that needs to be managed by us. It cannot be managed by property management. One, when we tried to have them managed before, it was horrible and we couldn't get on anyone. I know Cindy, one of the times when you tried to get that stuff updated, it was, you know, this is a headache.
Well, I mean, I can't work the job.
Correct, and you know at the time that if you were to
Very,
very time consuming, and it takes a lot. Takes a lot. It's not an easy job, and you have to sometimes remind people a lot of times, and then if people are not doing it, it means it goes to violations and fines. So you get to be the bad cop at times. So I really appreciate Nicole and Tiffany for stepping up and taking this on. Cindy and I, mainly Cindy, since she's been kind of leading this effort over the last few months, will get them up to speed. And so we should have that updated. So everyone needs to thank them because it's a big deal. So we go to another very busy thing that gets really annoying because the system's not always working, is the amenity access management. So the only way for us to do this, we can't do it remotely, is to have someone come to their office for amenity access to the clubhouse and a small pool. The system that we have is older. And it does have glitches, so sometimes you might set someone up and then all of a sudden it something happens. And then they say, hey, I can't get it, my fob isn't working, so and we have to come to the office and do our little witchcraft in there and get it working again. So I don't have a volunteer currently for that task, but if people want access to these buildings, we're going to need to have a volunteer. And it has to be someone that lives here, because you can't expect someone off-site to try to manage it, because it has to be done in person, right? So I'll leave that to the board to decide on how.
Did you mention programming the fobs for new people and all that?
Yeah, so that would be part of the rule. So when we, the way the system works, we have fobs. We have enough. I think we just recently bought some that we ran out. And so we have, fobs inside there, and we would have to carry out a training on whoever takes that on how to program the fobs. It could use the fob. It could also use PIN numbers. We have had a practice in the past that we only give PIN numbers. So to type in the numbers, instead of a fob to board members. If you guys want to change that, you can change that, but I do not recommend that at all. Because people end up sharing pins and then you have a lot of other issues. And it's much easier to track when you have a physical fob. It's also a revenue driver, because ultimately there are people who lose their fobs, and we do charge $50 for a new fob. And I think if I remember correctly, and I'm just roughing the numbers, don't quote me or hold me to them, but I think when we charge enough for about 5 fobs, that pays for a box of them. So it's something to bring in some extra revenue for people who might ultimately be irresponsible or leave it with their kids, and the kids cost them $50. We do charge new owners to the association currently $25 for a first issue. If you guys want to revisit that, that's completely up to you. If you just want to keep it all at 50, but currently, if you have a brand new owner, it's only $25, and that's just a one-time fee unless they want more. So one of the things that also we need a volunteer for is how we communicate. We use a bulk mailer system called MailChimp. Some people use Constant Contact. If anyone's in the marketing space, you might be familiar with Constant Contact. MailChimp is one of the next big ones that's out there. And that's how we email everyone in the HOA at one time instead of using an email address. Because it's easier to compose emails that way, and also track. Some people say, oh, I didn't get that email yet. The system tells us when you opened it, the time you opened it, and all the analytics are there. And you can keep a running track of the emails much easier that are sent out, and share the links a lot more easier. But when we send out meeting notices, as well as any communication to the community, someone needs to generate that email. When after the meeting, if we have a summary email that goes out, which I think is a good practice to have, we need someone to take leadership on getting that done. So don't have a volunteer for that.
We pay for membership.
We do not. We currently do not send enough emails out that where payment is needed. But we typically just we stay within it. The only time we hit the limit was leading up to when I was setting out, everyone needs to show up to one of the meetings. We had one of the emergency meetings, and I sent multiple emails out that month. We did hit capacity on for the monthly send outs that we were allowed on the 3 accounts. It does limit us that we don't get all the pretty templates and stuff, but we don't need anything pretty, we just need words and an email inbox. But we do need someone to do that if you guys are going to send out meeting notices via email, communicate other things that's going on. If we have to turn off the water because we have a water main break, people want to know why the water's off or what's happening. It's the way to get to the whole community. We know not everyone's on the Facebook group or the WhatsApp groups, so if everyone is on that medium, perfect, we can send a message that way, but we know we only have a small percentage of the community on those platforms, so someone needs to do that. Okay. Today is an example of one that just came in, but tenant application forms. That's typically been processed, by me. And, we require anyone who is going to be moving into the association, that is a renter, to get a background check. So currently, we benefit financially from processing the application. So the way it works is for up to a 5 business day turnaround. I want to say it's $50, and if they want it within 3 business days, it's been 3 business days for $100. $100 gets you within 3 business days, $50 for it to be within a week or less, a business week. And everyone is held to the same standard. The thing disqualifies folks would be those who are convicted of serious crime, such as murder, manslaughter, sexual predator, any crime against a human or property. So if they were convicted of a crime where they damaged property or hurt someone, and they're convicted within the last 7 years, anything beyond that, we are not legally allowed to look at, but anything within 7 years, we could look at that. So that would mean domestic violence will disqualify a tenant. Traffic, or if someone just got caught with some weed. However, if a person was caught with enough illegal drugs with the intent to sell, they were considered a drug dealer, that would disqualify them. But if it's just your simple marijuana charge, they don't get disqualified, or cocaine, whatever it is, as long as it was not to distribute. That's pretty much the things that disqualifies you. Everything else, if someone comes in on that same report that we get, it does show if a person has been evicted or filed bankruptcy. Now, that's not the HOA's concern. However, we would let the landlord, the owner of the unit, know as some valid excuses, could have gone to a divorce, could have had some other reason that is valid. That's completely not our business. It's between the owner and who they want as a tenant. Some owners in here just charge them extra on a security deposit or something. Some people don't care. Some people say, no, I don't want them. This is completely up to the owner, but we don't disqualify for that. We just, as a courtesy, let the owner know, because ultimately we're not going to accept the excuse that I'm not paying the association because my renter's late on rent. That's not an excuse. That's not my business. You still owe the association. So. Now, if no one's on the board wants to do that, but means we don't get money for processing. So
We charge that for processing, but what are we paying them for processing?
they're not getting paid nothing right now because it's been processed by me. So the way it works is we bill the homeowner's account for whatever speed they choose, whether it's expedited or regular speed, so it's either $50 or $100.
And whatever we're using to run those.
So, no, so what we do is that we get the money for an application fee.
Right.
The background check fee is paid by the applicant, so a link is generated, we send the applicant the link.
Right.
They pay now the background screening company with their own card, and if the homeowner, the owner of the unit, the landlord wants to reimburse them for that, they can, or some people make them pay. Most people just make them pay it. And it's $24.95 that they pay to the background check people, and then we get to find the money, which we have enough movement in here that we make a few $1,000s easy money on that if we do it ourselves. But someone has to do it.
Right.
So. So I could get with you, Tom, and we could iron out, and I could show you how to process them, and we're good to go. Okay, so the next thing. Maintenance requests. I'm gonna say that this homeowners association has been really, really blessed to have some of the folks who we have hired to carry out work around the community, stepping up to assist us. There's 3 people in the corner of this room right here that do not own an association, used to own here, but they've sold their unit, still take care of our landscaping, but also cares deeply about this community. And they're here in this meeting saying, hey, Kevin, I know y'all need help. He has a lot of maintenance and engineering skills, and I'm here to guide and help you out in any way needed. Spencer, his wife Cindy, we got 3 Cindys in here. We got Cindy, Cindy, and Cindy. And you all might know Daniel. He and his family takes care of our lawns, and they're here to help us out. And I really, really appreciate them for that. They don't have to be here. They're business people, but they're here because they know that they want to try to help us save money. And that means a lot to this association. So I'm going to start a round of applause to thank them. Appreciate you all. They've stepped up to say that they'll help out with any advice when it comes to some of the projects that we have going on here. They're a great resource. I want to make sure that, because usually it's either Cindy or myself that's contacting them if we have any maintenance things that we're trying to iron out, or any lawn cares issues, or anything, you know, when we had the folks that said, hey, I don't want the sprinklers to run when it's raining. And so we got, you know, Frederick looking at some research, and then we got Mr. Engineer Spencer over there installing it. We have a big old pool table inside this room that had no purpose anymore because it was dilapidated. And we have Daniel and his team coming in here hauling out a 300-pound beast to put in a dumpster. These aren't things landscapers are paid to do, but they're doing it for us. We got some good people that's been helping us out, and so I really appreciate it. And so I want to make sure that the board recognizes that as you move forward and make decisions on landscaping and all that sort of stuff. Just remember that, because they're more than just our landscapers. There are on-site maintenance people as well, even though we're not paying them to be. And they're always willing to talk and help us do those things. So they're here volunteering to help out with those maintenance needs that we do have, as well as we do have a resident, Antonio Prado. He's also who Also, it's great to have someone on site. If we have a water main break, he will be able to, you know, be called, hey, we need to shut off the water to the community. And take care of that, so we could, or you guys get it all taken care of. So Antonio, is there, and make sure that you guys have Spencer and Daniel's number. Cindy, she takes care of all of the administrative stuff in the background for them, but we appreciate them very much, and they're here to help us out. Just looking at the chat, I see. Oh, that's Tom, that's your other half. Outside, I could help with background checks as well. Okay, so one of those eyesores on the community, that we need to be policed, and also will need to be led by a volunteer, is the dumpster management. That's the roll-off dumpster. So that doesn't move by itself. For those that don't know, we pay for every pound that goes into there, as well as every time that thing moves. It's technically just we're renting it because we never have enough dumpster space. And when the dumpsters get filled, we have people that decide, I can't bother wait until it's empty, I'm just gonna put my junk down there. We still have people doing that even though we have it there. And so dumpster management is letting the city know when we need to move the dumpster because it's full. We got yelled at the other day, a couple months ago. They refused it because they said it was too high. I fought with them and they ended up taking it from us, but they don't want it to be over the top of the dumpster. They want it to be below it. And then every time it gets to that point, we need to send an email to the city to ask for it to be dumped and returned. If we don't say it to return it, it's gone. We want it to go and return or we won't have it. So we need someone to keep watching over it to make sure when it's getting full, that email is sent. And I can give you I use a template that I just copy and paste, and anytime it's full, I just copy and paste and send it to them. And I just reply also the email that it goes to. It's several of them in the city's office in waste management. And then it usually happens 2 to 3 days, not counting weekends. It's usually taken care of. But it also requires folks reporting when people misuse the dumpsters. So many times, again, I said that every single pound that goes in that dumpster, we pay for. So if and I've sent out communication on this so many times, but I guess people still don't get it. If it fits and it could go in one of the other green dumpsters, put it in there, because we all are paying more money when people misuse it, or if people are too lazy to put it inside. So someone needs to also keep eyes on policing it, reviewing CCTV, and sometimes identifying who the culprit is, so we can ultimately give them the $100 fine that we give for people who misuse the dumpster. Fines are a little bit of a revenue driver too, but it's not a thing. Fines should not be used as or viewed as a revenue driver as much, even though it does bring in some money. But it's a tool that we have in our toolbox that can be used
To correct
to
behavior.
correct behavior. It's a deterrent, right? So we don't want to look at it as, you know, a revenue driver as much, but we want to let people know we're not afraid to fine you when you cause us issues. So I can't tell you how many times I've been out there to clean up someone else's garbage or take their garbage to move it to the appropriate garbage, ultimately saving every one of us the money that we would spend on that.
Same.
Yeah.
And Miss K.
Miss K, I don't know if she's on. Is she on? I'm not sure. She has a visitor, so she's probably not on. But yeah, Miss K has been amazing at walking around. We know her from our little thing that she polices the area, and she lets us know that, you know, there is trash around, and, she reports when so we have several, lighting that is owned by the city that she lets us know when the lights are out, and she doesn't let us know, she calls them automatically, tells them the phone number, so we don't even have to do that, but she just does it. So she's been a great resource to have to help clean up the community. I know there's others, little Miss Maria, that's the older lady that you see, the little Colombian lady that goes around, she cleans up. I know Carlton does clean up as well too. I know Debbie goes around and cleans up. So we have a lot of people that do go around the community and clean up trash, and no one's necessarily knowing that they do that, but they do. So we appreciate them for doing that, and that's very helpful, because if you see something, why don't you just pick it up and throw it away? We all have a part. We all live here. Instead of email, and trust me, this happens. Instead of taking the time to email me, hey, there's trash over there, why don't you pick it up yourself and do it? Because that's what I'm going to end up doing, and I'm doing it now. So people need to just take responsibility. They see it, they just need to do it. Say that again, Paul? Mhm.
Technically from outsiders.
Mhm. So the question, for those that might not have heard, is Carlton was saying that if we have a method to stamp out from people outside the community coming and dumping. We have very few of that. In fact, we have the opposite. We have people sometimes dumpster diving, looking for valuables in the garbage. From looking at CCTV, and I mean, I've been doing this for a while, very rare we have an outsider coming in and dumping. It does happen from time to time, but it's not the majority. And so the way we've handled the dumpster divers, so I don't like dumpster divers in the middle of the night. It to me poses a security risk. However, I don't mind them necessarily in the day. The reason is sometimes when people are getting rid of their appliances and stuff, they take that from us, and we're now not paying for an appliance that's inside there, that weights and all that sort of stuff is now, to me, it's a win-win. So I don't mind personally, I don't know how you all do it, dumpster divers in the daytime, but at nighttime, I don't want people on the property in the middle of the night. And so usually if I see them, I got my piece of 9mm lead that I walk with, and you go out there and say, please leave property, or I'm gonna trespass. We need someone to do a little bit of that, not playing cop, but sometimes, not being afraid to tell people who do not belong to leave. And if you're not comfortable, which is probably the more preferred route, is to just call that non-emergency line. It's in our rules and regulations, the phone number for it, but we can make sure that we have that circulated once again. Save it in your phone, call the non-emergency line. This person is usually not here, can you send a patrol car? The city always sends someone. Sometimes they send them real quick, sometimes it might take an hour. It just depends on what they got going on, because again, it's not a non-emergency line, but they do always send someone. And, anytime I've called, I've seen them driving around. I get people sometimes telling me, Kevin, there's someone that's in my, I see that looks suspicious. I'm going to also call the non-emergency line. I don't want to put anyone in the line of fire. I know how I could personally handle myself a little bit, but that's not for everyone. And I don't want people to try to be super cop a hero. I would rather them have, any cop, they're going to call for backup if something doesn't feel right either. Let's be smart about it. If you see something suspicious, just call the non-emergency line. If it's an emergency and you see an imminent threat, call 911. Don't call the HOA and tell them, hey. And I don't even know if any board member is going to be sharing their numbers like I used to either. That's completely up to them. So, yeah. Comment?
You see suspicious people from our times.
Yeah. And sometimes it might be nothing. Mhm. Yeah.
By the way, that non-emergency number is listed on the board in the office. That board that has all the little letters. It's at the very bottom.
Yeah, that bottom number is that non-emergency. Yes, you're right. Phone number. So I really think everyone needs to save that number in their phone, because you just never know when you're going to need it. This room, the reservations for this clubhouse, we do, make some revenue from that when people rent the clubhouse. Currently, I want, if I remember correctly, it's $50 for this room. If they want this room and this pool, it's $100 for the day rental. They get it the full day. Typically, when that happens, we put up a sign on the door letting everyone know the clubhouse is closed on whatever day that they close, you have it closed for. We make sure that it looks clean. There is a form that they have to fill out and a deposit that they make. And we could go through all of the steps on it, but we pretty much take a deposit check as well as a payment check. And if we come back and after the event, there's no issues, it's all cleaned up, it's like they were never here, they get back, we go, and they can rip up that check, the deposit check, and then we, have property management pick up the, using a money order or something like that for the payment check. That's how it's usually handled, but it does mean someone needs to kind of make their checks and make sure this place is ready for them and make the reservation, make sure no one double booking. We have some people that always reserve every single year for their children's birthday parties and stuff. So I think that should continue, but we need a volunteer to take that on or a board member to take that on. It's not like a, round the clock type of thing, but every couple of months we do have that request that comes in.
While we're talking about the clubhouse, something that my husband has been doing when he comes to get the mail every day, he comes inside this building and checks to make sure that the air conditioner and fans haven't been left on in the gym, and he checks to make sure that the bathrooms aren't a problem. We haven't had too much problem with the bathrooms since we've had the cleaners coming to clean every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
But he does just come in and walk around and make sure everything looks okay, and sometimes it doesn't, and it needs attention. So it would be nice if somebody would take that on. It's not like an official role or anything, but y'all need somebody nosy like Henley. And the air conditioner in here is on a twist timer, so it only runs for 2 hours. We recently had the gym air conditioner get left on for 3 days before Henry noticed it. That could be a lot of electric expense.
Yeah, if someone could just walk through on a daily basis, just a quick walkthrough. And if you see it on, turn it off. And it would be good again for those who are looking at have access to the amenity access system. It will tell you the timestamp that someone fobbed in. You could then identify who the culprit is and then take action. And we've done that. We could suspend them. We could just issue them a fine. You could do both, whatever you feel is fit, based on the seriousness of the offense. Clubhouse mailbox Dropbox. This is a board member function. It will have to be someone that has access to the office, but we do get mail here on occasion, as well as on some rare occasions, people drop off payments, or again, if someone's renting the clubhouse. We haven't had a lot of owners per se rent. A lot of times most of the time it's like a renter. If it's an owner, we can just bill the account. Just tell property management to bill them the amount. But when it's a tenant renting it, how you guys imagine, that's, if iron that all out. But those, sometimes they drop off, what I'm saying, the deposit check in the Dropbox. And again, sometimes you get some mail and stuff up here as well. So you got to keep an eye out on it. And when there's like checks or something inside there, we need to send it off to property management. Or if, sometimes people might, sometimes it's important notices that you just have to kind of finger through, just kind of see what's spam, what's not spam. And get it.
There is actually joy mail that comes here. We've been trying to catch it and get it sent to Garrison instead, but Sometimes there's actually showing.
Thanks. The next thing we kind of touched on briefly, but I have down board meetings, whether it's going to be Zoom in course, Zoom or in person, and someone to send out the notices and all that sort of stuff. So I guess we talked about that a little bit, so we just need to, you guys need to figure out what you guys want to do with that. We also kind of talked a little bit about CCTV management, but we didn't talk in detail about it. So the board, can choose to, figure through CCTV when we're looking for violations or whether it's a security concern or what have you. But property management can kind of take that on too. I remember when Cindy, you and I first met Garrison team, I think they had mentioned at the time that, they're used to looking at, I don't know if you remember, but they were they are used to looking through footage and stuff if need be, but might be a conversation to bring back up.
That can be very time consuming.
It can be, and right now we have some practice if you all want, because I got an email today about a violation at the small pool where someone left the umbrella open. So if you want to log on and figure out who it was and either give them guidance or violation or fine, whatever you all choose. But that came in today again, someone reported they saw umbrellas open, and when those umbrellas are left open and we had some wind today and some rain today, when the wind gets underneath that, those things are not cheap, and we end up spending too much money unnecessarily from people just not doing the simple thing and closing their umbrellas back. So, I mean, look at those chairs that we had that were not even 3 days before people broke them. I mean, so we don't keep buying them. 3 days and our pool chairs are all broken, all of them. So this, yeah. I think Santana had mentioned she's interested in this, but we also need a welcome committee, which is very good for when we have new owners moving on in. But we also have Tommy and Melissa Miller, who said that they would be more than happy to, do a welcome committee and kind of do a little quick hello, face-to-face, welcome to the neighborhood. Which is something I've always wanted to get up and running. We just didn't have anyone to really take it on. But they're willing. Santana is another person to add to it, who is also willing, she said, which is very helpful for a number of things. A lot of people, when they move here, they have no clue about where to find rules and, the things that we all know because we live here. And it would just be good and a neighborly thing to try to just welcome them and give them the 411 and what's up. Beautification committee. So when we had one of the last emergency meetings, again, we tried to get this up and going. And we had about 60 or so people on that meeting. Or 70, it was 70 something people on that meeting. And when I asked the question, who could join the beautification committee, which will mean cleaning up the neighborhood and stuff, having different things to, make recommendations on how to make the place look better. We had no one step forward for the longest time until Debbie said she would do it, but she couldn't do it alone. And then we had a couple other folks that said that they will join, and it just never ever got. We need a beautification committee up and running with people who live here. And so Kathia Morales said, she's a night nurse, but she said she will take that on. But I did let her know if she is now going to take this on, she is responsible for recruiting a team. Means she might need to go door to door and let people know, hey, I need you to help me clean up this neighborhood. Clean up the trash around and on a consistent basis, or host different things, neighborhood cleanup days, whether they want to do a little bit of pressure washing or whatever it is that is decided to make the place look better. So,
I'm quite sure, you know, yes, you did have somebody that said they was going to do it. And they were supposed to, but I didn't put my name on it, you know, my situation, I was on the whole. And nobody came to my door, nobody did anything, it's just like, it went in one ear and came out the other. So nobody came around to knock on the door, or nobody's door, or nobody said nothing to nobody, so it.
so, and you're reinforcing what I just said, Diane, thank you for saying that, but what I said is, no one really stepped up to get it going, but when we have these committees established, it does not mean that Kevin Walker, Cindy or Tom is now responsible to let it move forward. Whoever is in charge of that now needs to take it to the next level and then organize the rest of it. And if you want to take the lead, step up and take the lead and get a group of people together and take it on. You cannot depend on a board member who's already doing, I'm not saying you're saying that, but hold on, let me finish what I'm saying. Any committee moving forward needs someone to drive it forward. So whoever it is, Kathy has said she's going to give it a try. Debbie gave it a try. She couldn't get the timing worked out with certain things with some of those that stepped up. But I did give her the information. I don't know all the details, but all I know, it did not get up and running, and that was 4 months ago. So, Cindy?
I have a suggestion there.
Mhm.
That sounds like a prime opportunity for your middle school and high schoolers to earn community service hours.
And that's exactly what was said on that last meeting. And I think someone was going to look at, seeing if they could get some credit towards it. But again, whoever owns that project needs to take that forward. And if they're the person that puts their signature on it, or any board member is more than happy to sign it. But the expectation cannot be that I'm going to wait for the board to send out an email or to, tell me when to show up. It needs to be someone, whoever is in charge of that committee, to take that and move it forward to the next step and just do it and get it done. And we just have not had that. And we need to have that, or it's just not going to get done. And then we're going to have to figure out another way to address some of the trash that's around. Thank you, Daniel, for being Mr. Trash Guy, but I can't expect, we're not paying you enough money to clean up people's trash. But he's the one that's been taking up a lot of people's trash, and that's not his job. We don't pay them enough. Thank you for not raising our maintenance fees. Please don't raise it, Spencer. But they keep on doing these stuff for us, and they're not being thanked for it. So. Dog poop stations, we got some installed. And I'm not gonna call no names on this, because I'm a little bitter. But someone said that they were going to clean that out, and then there was a lot of excuses. So another person stepped up to take care of that. Thank you, Victoria Rice. She is always going to take care and make sure that the dog poop stations are completely emptied out, and we always got bags in there. She's in fact the same person that donated them to us. She works for Habitat for Humanity, and they had a bunch of extra ones that she was able to get and donated to us. And she gets the bags for free, so she gives us the bags. And so we got, a couple locations that, thank you, Daniel, for installing them for us. Again, not building us for it. But I cannot reiterate how many things they keep on going above and beyond to help us do. And so we have some of those stations. So no one has an excuse that I didn't have a bag, because we got on the two sides of the property. They are there.
I wanted to pass on that I had a request for the one on this side has a trash can attached to it. The one on that side doesn't. I had one owner who said, can we get a trash can for it?
No, we can't, unfortunately, because the ones that were donated didn't come with it. But the reason that one was put in that location is because it is in line of sight of maybe 50 feet or 100 feet away from a big old dumpster. So.
Well, I actually looked to see, and they're like $100. So I said no.
Yeah, why are we gonna pay $100 when you can walk 100 feet? To dump your dog poop. That you should be carrying a bag anyway. So, and again, those little small dumpsters. The little trash baskets on those things need to be emptied by someone. The city of Lakeland's not gonna empty them for us. So at least Victoria is, she's keeping up with doing that for us. All right, so. That is pretty much the bulk of everything. I know it's a long list. But the next thing that I got in my notes here, pretty much, we kind of highlighted. In the beginning of the meeting that we have 2 people interested in joining the board, but with a president and secretary leaving, the board needs to now decide who will be president, who will be vice president, who will be treasurer. I guess, Tom, I don't know if you're going to remain in your role, who's going to fill in the positions. We do know that one of the volunteers, who said that she is interested in joining board is not going to be president, so we know that that's out for her. I don't know, as vice president, if you want to take the president position and decide amongst yourselves. So I just want to make sure that, you have that kind of together, and an idea before the next meeting, because, that will need to be done. And
Proceed with caution. You don't want to have an unnoticed board meeting.
yes. So one of the legal requirements, with a new law, never used to be in there, is that the board meetings is it 2 days? I want to say it has to be noticed 2 days in advance. Now I think should be okay, but just out of abundance of caution, because we have all of the dates posted on the board, which it's there. But we know a lot of people don't live here, and we want to make sure that it's properly noticed. So going into our MailChimp would be good to let people know when the next board meeting is. Of course, I did announce it on the last meeting, but with the notice of the meeting, there should be an agenda attached to it as well too. So at some point in time before the next board meeting, I would say, let's say a week before the next meeting, which will be on June the 3rd, we should have some sort of draft agenda together to send out to everyone to say, hey, board meeting, 7 o'clock, June 3rd. And whether it's Zoom or in person or hybrid, whatever it is.
Or talk to people individually. That's what I was saying, that I know that we got 2 ways about that. Yeah. That's what I meant about not having an unnoticed board meeting.
Oh, yeah, yep. So. I'll open it up to the floor. Let's go online first, and then we'll come to inside if anyone has any questions, comments, or anything else to add about anything. But first online, if you want to just unmute and, let us know your question or comment. Board, I don't think we've missed anything else in the chat. Not hearing anything from online, so everyone's good online. In here, anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Colton.
Since, our house, one of the houses that was damaged, some damage from hurricane. I wondered that who you plan to, about who you bring the complaint to outside, out of the house, talking about the regulars. It's an area where I myself would have been up there to, scrape the painting off. I myself would have been up there to scrape the painting off, the sort of top of my, I met, what do you call it, patio area, it's out there. I don't know if that, if it doesn't look safe enough for me, myself, my physicality, to be on top of it, and, so if I had to do it, And if I can't, somebody do about that, do it. Am I responsible for it? Do I have to pay for it? No, because it's a condition where, it makes it an eyesore. At one time, I was told that I had to pay my door because it's an eyesore, I paid my door. It's an eyesore. How do I get that correct?
So I'm quite familiar, and it wasn't from hurricane damage for what your issue is, as I recall. What your issue is under, his window at the rear of his units, where the siding is, it needs to be painted. It looks like trash. It looks horrible.
Is there siding damage?
No, it's not, the siding's not really damaged, what it is just, it needs to be painted. And he has he has a screened-in patio, however, his specific screened-in patio is not one you could stand on, like how mine and, my building, all of ours, I could stand up, I could do what I need to do on it. His thing, and person 50 pounds probably should not stand on it, you'll fall through. So, that next thing. So, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but it was a number of years ago, we had paid one of the residents that used to be a painter here to paint all the siding. His was not one of that could get painted because you could not get to that spot safely to do so, you hurt yourself. So it never got painted and it does look like crap, it is an eyesore. At the same time, his building is one of the buildings that is on the list to get a new roof and mansard at some point in time, and so that would be the best time to address that issue. Of course, we know what's happened with the whole re-roofing schedule, and there are a couple buildings that are still ahead of his building, which means he will have to wait longer to get it done. Yet it is, again, legitimately not a good looking thing. It's at the rear of the unit. So it might be an eyesore from that side, but not necessarily the front. So we have found no real good way to really mitigate it at this time. And so, as you all know, we have so many other, if you want to call it, higher priorities. And I know it's personal to you, but I'm just speaking candidly here, and I know you might not like what I have to say about it. Let me finish, and then I will get back. So, speaking candidly, it's fallen down the priority because it's more of an eyesore. The whole building needs to be redone anyway. It's unit 10. So if you guys could figure out a way, I have not figured out a way to get it done,
So
but
it's between the back window and his porch. So having somebody.
stick their head out the window is
Window.
possible that could work. Yeah, yeah,
Can I, correct? what you said?
sure.
I've been there 3 years, when I went there, that was not there, it happened to be cheap paint. It's done. Because where the storm did it, it scrubbed it off as if it was sandpaper, scrubbed the paint off. That was not an issue there. So that's not something that was always there, it's something that.
They didn't say it was always there, just saying they didn't paint it when we painted it because it was unsafe to do so.
It's old,
It's, yeah,
so it's warm.
just, yeah, it is, yeah. It didn't get a fresh look like everywhere else, and the storm could have had some blowing, but I mean, it's just one of those that didn't get. But we do have, again, I know the roofing schedule is just completely blown out, and it's gonna be a very big challenge to mitigate some of that. I do need to, I guess, update the website again. No, I think I already have it updated on, we just don't know when the others are going to be. Vivian, the roofer, had originally told me, which I had told you all, that she was willing to do one of the other buildings and we pay her next year for it, but now she's kind of recanted on that. Now that she said that she knows that I'm not going to be here and she can't be promised, her payments and stuff on that, so she's backed out of that. unfortunately.
what?
She was going to originally, do that building, for us this year, towards the end of this year. And then, we would pay her sometime when the new budget came in, knowing our challenges, but then, you know, she doesn't feel comfortable because she does not know if the new board will even choose her as a roofer moving forward. She just has too many unknowns, and she doesn't feel comfortable moving
Well,
forward.
and she needs to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, so she, you know, we don't have that, but the next roofs that really need to be done, her roof is in bad shape. Donna's roof. So Donna, unfortunately, her roof was supposed to be before this building.
Yeah.
They have repaired Donna's building numerous times. There's going to be a point where it's no longer going to be repairable. And that whole building is in very bad shape. So, I would strongly recommend that the next building that is completely done is her building, as a matter of ultimate priority, on that schedule. The others, I could kind of give you my feedback on, which I kind of do have identified on the website, but I'll make sure I get with you guys to really give you what I feel based on what's been going on with the whole building as a whole. But the next building has to be her building for sure, because it's only a matter of time before we have significant issues with this. Ms. Beatty's building, is also one that's high up on that priority list, but it's been maintaining. So, the history of Ms. Beatty's building is after, I believe it was the 2004 hurricanes, that you know the history even more than me. You wanna share the history of your roof, Ms. Beatty?
Well, our roof is good now, the roof, but I had issues because the roofer was,
Tom Smith?
It was before Thompson, it was Billion, I believe.
Oh.
So what, I'll take it as Billion. So what happened is after that, they had Gillian come in, they did a roof that was no good. Tom Smith had to go in and re-roof it, but he re-roofed over a not so good roof. So when you go on top of her roof currently, it's holding water. It's squish when you walk.
Under the TPO?
No. She doesn't have TPO yet. Her building doesn't have TPO.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, so it's squishy. So at some point in time, they believe that water is going to seep on in. So they had said at the time when Vivian was doing that move 4 years ago, I think it was, that move needs to be redone. So far, nobody in that building has had a roof issue internally. But the roofers say that roof is in not good shape. And so I gotta trust with what the roofers are telling me. I'm not the roofer, so, what's
I
the,
think that roof was named that he put a new roof on from the old existing roof. I think it was O'Neill and, State Farm sued him. They said, if we win, we're gonna sue him and we give you weakness. I mean, the double.
you get it,
Yeah, that was before Tom.
It's what it's.
it's before Tom, and,
Let it go.
yeah,
It's the building with units 1 and 3.
yeah, but I will make sure you guys have all of the notes and, or if you guys wanna connect with Vivian based on her, because when insurance company comes up, I need to do that still. The insurance, remind me, don't make me forget. The insurance wants us to provide some documents. I've forgotten and I need to, so don't make me forget it. Over the next week, please. The insurance often requires us to provide a roof inspection. So Vivian tends to do them, she gives me the 411 on kind of where things are with the rules. What I asked her to remind me on that I will make sure is done before I leave. So, you know, insurance always, they send someone out to randomly audit our association and they dinged us on 2 things. They dinged us on, any shingles that are slipping, that are not, there, that needs to be repaired within the next, well, at the time from the notice, 30 days. She's taking care of that, I'm already approved for her to take care of that. The next thing is something that we required all owners to do already was to update the electrical panel boxes because of that. Thankfully, we did complete, we have 100% compliance with all owners. What we don't have compliance on, and I'll have to be very careful with how I respond to them, is the outside of the buildings, which we were trying to get done, but because of financial reasons, we did not get to complete that yet. So I'm gonna figure out a way to, I think it's 8 buildings we have left.
That sounds like too many.
It's either 4 or 8, but it's 4. Is
It
it-
might be
So
for,
is it 4?
I'm gonna look.
So the remainder buildings are not yet completed, but I don't think financially we could do it this year. Don't think. It was what, 20, I don't remember.
Yeah, but our roof was put on in 2011.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
yeah, the dates are on our website, we do have them on our website. Let me just go back to the chat, I see something in here.
It shows 8 on here.
I thought it was,
That's right.
I think we did do it last year, so I think.
The website shows 8. I need to go look at mine.
Double check, but I think it is 8, I think we didn't do it last year, and it would have been last year, this year, we're doing 4 at a time, I feel it is 8.
I'm gonna-
Do that. So. While she looks, any other questions from in here? Questions, concerns?
This is contact for, like, plumbing, you're gonna have to
So
set that up.
for plumbing, there's really no, there's one company that I've been dealing with that has been the most reliable. And actually had a 24-hour service, because unfortunately, a lot of them advertise the 24 hours, they are not 24 hours, it goes to some after hours number, and they don't come out the next morning, and then everyone interrupted, all night. The plumbers that we have, and they do charge a fair price, is, I should know the name of this, Gillum Vital Plumbing.
Same reason.
Yeah, they have been amazing at getting out here really quick. So we used to use All Pro Plumbing. They used to be really good. They have a new owner. And I don't trust them quite as much anymore. We've had a couple of owners now that have had bad experiences with them. So I have, again, they used to be good, but I'm not going to recommend them anymore. But yeah, Gillum Whiteout seems to be the absolute best that we have had to quickly identify. With the maintenance folks, again, Antonio, I'll make sure he knows. I think Spencer and Daniel already know where our main shut off is at the entrance. But again, if for whatever Antonio, I know he likes to travel and, you know, enjoy, you know, his boat and all that sort of stuff. If someone else is not around, I mean, give Spencer and his team a call. If you have a water main break, whatever, needs to shut off. And the reason we want to get that shut off, even though it's a major inconvenience to everyone here, is we pay for every drop of water that comes through the meter, and it is expensive. So the water is not as bad, I mean, the price of the water, but as long as it goes through the meter, we also get charged a sewage charge. And whether it went through in the sewage, I don't think they actually monitor that, but they have a calculation formulated with how much water comes in. And I guess the rate for the sewage is like 3 times higher than the average water rate. And we get murdered when it comes to the wastewater part of it. So if you look at the breakdown of our water bill is actually pretty cheap when it comes to the actual usage for when you divide it by the 120 units. I want to say something like $30 a unit, but that's just the water. The wastewater portion is what kills us. So,
wastewater being charged on the water bill or is it being charged on the tax bill?
On the water. We're an independent system here, so the city's responsibility ends at the top of the road, so everything comes inside as us. The only thing that, we don't have to maintain is our lift safe station, which is up over in the corner of the property on the western side. But that's.
We had an issue when we used to live in the house. They were charging our HOA wastewater and also charging every homeowner on the big one. So,
Was that inside the city of Lakeland?
you know, it was hard to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city of Lakeland is, yeah.
So generally, the only way, there's two ways that it can charge. I prefer to see the landfill for 60 years for English one. If they had a revenue meter, which you don't have here, not to my knowledge. No, there's a calculation that we as a municipality do. How many units, how many people, stuff like that, it's like a whole calculation that's done to determine how much you can charge. And other than that, that's the only way to do it. And it's gonna be based on whatever came out from Tallahassee that goes through Polk County that justifies them to charge that much. Because they're also adding in their, we talked about that the other day. They're also considering the lift station. That's another reason, because they have to come out here monthly to clean the lift station, monitor it, jetting the lines, all that stuff, all that is all it comes to cost.
So the answer to the question's worse. It's 9 buildings that haven't been done.
Which is, why is it an odd number?
Because we have 25 buildings
Hmm,
and we've been doing them in even numbers.
Four at a time,
Mhm.
okay. Okay, so 9 buildings that are left. Can we do the clubhouse,
Yeah, no, we have 25 residential buildings.
residential buildings, okay. For some reason I thought it was 8, but 9.
Yeah, we did 4 and 4 in 2020. And then we did 8 in 2021, in November of 2021. That's the last time we did it.
And then some of that was supply chain originally, and then it was after supply chain, it was the city that changed requirements.
I'm sorry, we didn't do it. We did it in 2023. We paid the down payment.
The down payment that year, yeah, so we've had a lot of issues, but they're getting done, we just need to continue the rest of them. As well as the other buildings. Any other questions before we close off the meeting? We're a little over now. Oh, is it over? No, we're not over yet.
7:37.
Yeah, we're good on time. I was predicting about a 12 meeting depending on discussion. So, Santana. She put in a chat.
That's Lisa Santana.
Okay, well, I only see Santana on there, so I'm going by.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing, so Lisa, is saying that, she too would be interested if, needed to be on the board, but not president. So you could, put her on a list of someone you might want to talk to. But now's the time, I don't think I'm going to be putting together another board meeting, to get us all together. Before the end of the month, so if you think of anything else before we close off today's meeting, whether you're virtually or here in person, please, don't hold back.
And I'll help with things, but I don't really know what. Yes.
So, yeah, so anyone that say I want to help, but not sure in what capacity, reach out to Cindy or Tom. And based on what they feel they might need to fill in the gaps. I'm sure that they'll welcome and figure out something. Cause I know sometimes it's a challenge, you know, this long list of different things and not quite sure, you wanna be able to step up and do something, but not quite sure, so I understand.
Well, we have like another meeting, like the show and tell, like how we get into camera, CCTV, Bob system.
Yeah, a lot of that I think is one-on-one, I don't think, yeah. So we could go through that, that's more like one-on-one, don't want everyone to know how to access a lot of that as well too. We wanna keep that to a smaller select group of who needs to go on there. Board members or all, you know, so the people that need to be able to have access, but not anyone should be able to do that. Ms. Lady?
I'd like to thank you and Cindy for the wonderful job you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Ms. Lady. So, yeah, so, the plumber that we have been using, Gillum Plumbing, who I, again, have had good experience with is Gillum Plumbing, and the phone number is 863-665-6222.
Can't go there.
I'll say it a couple more times. So,
Or say it slow.
Yeah.
Once.
yeah, so it's gonna be 863
Slow.
665 6222.
You got it, this is,
I'll make sure you get that call, Ken. I will make sure you have that number.
6222. The last four are 6222. Yes. I also looked up the city of Lakeland non-emergency
I
number.
was looking to give that, yeah.
So we can get that on the recording here. The city of Lakeland's non-emergency number is 863-834-6900.
oh, wait, you gave him another number?
Yeah, I'll make sure you guys get it. Don't stress him out with that. I got it. I will get with Carlton and I will make sure he has these numbers out. Yeah,
It's also on the board right in the office window, at the bottom of that board in the office window, so you can stand there and put it at your convenience.
no, that's the emergency, the
No.
non-emergency Lakeland Police Department phone number. So that's the one that we were mentioning. If you see something suspicious and want a patrol car to roll on through, that's the number to call.
And frankly, maybe I shouldn't say this when I'm being recorded, but I have called 911 and the first words out of my mouth, this is not an emergency. And they say to me, okay, I'll transfer you to the non-emergency line.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yep. So,
So when exactly are you guys' last day when you be taking, you guys are like walk out here at the same time when the sunset, right?
no, both of us, the last day, what day did I say? It was gonna be 5 o'clock on June 3rd. June 3rd is when the next HOA meeting is gonna be, but the meeting's at 7, so it's gonna be right before the next HOA meeting, so we will not be here for that meeting. I might be in the background, but I am not participating as a decision maker by any means in it. It will be more or less as a resource for the board while they carry out the functions of the association.
I need to clarify. Physically being here, I think part of the, when you guys actually not gonna be here
So-
outside.
Yes, 2 different times. My home is under contract right now. I listed it last week, two Thursdays ago. And I got an offer on my home the following Sunday, so it wasn't even on the market for a week. And so my anticipated closing is on June the 7th. So providing all goes well, I am homeless as of June 7th, prior to my transition back home to the Cayman Islands.
My God. And yours,
I have not listed my home here.
you leave.
I will be closing on my new home, hopefully May 31st and then moving. But I am only going to be across town. So as Kevin said, I will not be a decision maker. I will not be a board member, but I am here. I will take phone calls. I will come over here and hold people's hands. I don't want to see this fail. My nephew still owns a house here. Well, my house is still mine. So yeah, we're not going into sunset, which is dropping off the board and dropping into a support role. How's that?
What would you say to, I don't know, getting together in the house, something like that, having a see you later type of, cookies?
You want to go party? We'll party.
Good party.
I mean, you know, I'm just, look, I'm starting below, and I don't know what my new situation is. Just say, what does everybody think about that? People online, please respond. You have to answer right now, but that would be kind of nice.
Well, so this is the thing that, and I said it earlier, and I've tried to reiterate it, in the past. If someone has an idea like you have, and you wanna take the lead on it, take the lead on it. Don't need to ask for the permission.
Well, right now, if everyone's here or here, get in contact with me and we'll talk.
And how do we contact you, Frederick?
I'm on, what's up? Let's see, focusfaith@gmail.com. You can contact me on my email. I think that's about it.
Focus of faith
At,
at gmail.com.
Well, you got him on WhatsApp. You see him in the WhatsApp.
or just rewind this because.
And or he,
Or go to
You're right here.
door.
I'm gonna tell you. Okay. Before we leave here, I'll get it.
yeah.
Focusfaith@gmail.com or reach me at 407.
Get with him.
No button to it, we can fit it now.
3148. Please, if you call, I mean, you'll leave a message because I don't know if it's on the other. Well, I go back and bring phone calls or text. Yes, sir.
Sometimes that she goes by the last name.
Oh, okay.
I'm still ready.
Oh, what part do you like? Oh,
Still got about 10 minutes before I officially close off the meeting. If anyone else have any other questions, wanna make sure everyone's comfortable to have any concerns, questions answered. I know we still got about 11 people online who have been very quiet. Cindy, you guys good? Cindy got a lot of notes there. All right, so not hearing anything else, we'll go ahead and call it quits for tonight. I want to again thank everyone for making the time to come out. And I guess there might be a,
There may or may not be extent on,
yeah,
you know,
if you guys want to have,
the size of it will be determined by your availability.
yeah, so Frederick might be in touch, he might not. If you guys want to get together,
I just Publix and pick up, fried chicken and a piece of beer and bring it with you guys' house. Back patio or something.
or something, we'll figure out
We'll figure out
something,
something,
so.
it'll be big or small. But
All right.
we love.
All right, thank you all, and everyone, you have a good night, take care.